Welcome back to a new school year. My name is Brenda Swarzinski, and I'm excited to serve as your elementary science coordinator this year. I am here for you, the classroom teacher. Please contact me via email or phone. When searching in the recipient list in Outlook, simply put in SW and I should come up fairly quickly. I've never been more excited about the state of elementary science in our district as I am this year. Today, we'll review some of the resources available to you to do the very best job for our elementary science students. Let's get started. I'd like to start off by highlighting the resources for elementary science. If you were paying close attention last year, you probably noticed there were many boxes of science equipment being delivered to campuses last year. Each campus has over $15,000 worth of new equipment for our science labs and classrooms. Most of it was delivered last year, and there's some more to come this year. There will be some opportunities to get a review of all the new equipment, but don't wait to get into the lab and get your students hands-on. Another new resource available to us this year will be the Delta Science Readers and corresponding skill builders. Each grade level will receive 3 sets of 7 to 10 titles with correlating skill builders. These informational texts can be used to support your science content as well as be a valuable resource in your reading programs. Look for opportunities to learn more about these titles for your grade level in workshop. Backed by popular demand is our Parents Science newsletter. I will be sending it electronically in both English and Spanish should you need it. You can use it or not. If you'd like to print it out or email it to your parents, they can continue to support you in their child's learning. Look for the first one to be coming in late September. One of the biggest resources that you will find this year is Forethought. This is going to be your go-to place for all things curriculum. We are not changing the look of Forethought in any drastic way, and the content coordinators have worked very hard to make sure that it is aligned, and what you see in science looks very much like what you would see in social studies, math, and ELAR. Your time can be best spent by digging deeper into Forethought and looking for some of the resources that are there. It is your place to find all the student expectations, the clarifiers that go with those expectations, all of the resources from the district. So whether you're new to science this year or if you're a seasoned science teacher, you'll find tools to help you provide those rich experiences for your students. We have incredible resources for you to provide the very best instruction to your students. I'll be highlighting a few places that you might want to stop in at Forethought in just a little while. A couple of those resource highlights I'd like to look at include STEM Scopes. We've had STEM Scopes in the district for 5th grade for 2 years and K through 5 again for last year. If you have not utilized this wonderful resource, or if you have only utilized a bit of what it has to offer, I strongly suggest that you start here this year. Every teacher should or will have a login for STEM Scopes, and there are more than enough activities that integrate science with math, writing, reading, as well as doing those hands-on investigations. STEM Scopes is an excellent resource. It can be used online in your classroom. It can be used individually in computer labs with the students, and there's also aspects that you can print out and simply use in the classroom. EduSmart is another wonderful resource that we have loaded on the district server. I'll be highlighting how to access that if you don't already know and have a shortcut on your desktop. This is another great place to introduce a new concept to your students. It has lots of great visuals and videos. If you've not utilized this, I strongly suggest that you check it out this first 6 weeks. Ames books were delivered to the campuses for K through 5 last year. Depending on your grade level, there are 1 or 3 of these teacher guides. They are probably housed with last year's team leader. These provide excellent hands-on and content-specific resources for students, and they are tightly aligned to our student expectations. Again, the activities are housed actually in Forethought, so you can take a preview. If you want to actually do the activities, you'll need to locate the book and make copies for your instructions, and you can take it from there. Another great teacher resource is called Gateways. We have these available, 1 teacher edition per grade level per campus, and these were delivered again last year. Again, if you are looking for a very clear guide to how to provide those hands-on, that 5E inquiry science instruction for your students, this is a great place to start. So between STEM Scopes, EduSmart, Ames, and Gateways, you should find something that that is a good fit for your needs. So let's talk about a couple of things. I don't remember or have a STEM Scopes login. Please email me. I will be serving as your coordinator and site person for STEM Scopes, and I can easily get you your login or remind you of what it is if you don't have that. You might be new to the district and you don't know how to use STEM Scopes. You can go into Workshop. There's a short e-course that will show you an overview of how to use STEM Scopes. Or once you get into the program, if you go to the help section, there are short and very efficient videos that show you how to use the program and load your students. Again, there will be some offerings if you're new to the district or if you have never used STEM Scopes before. Just keep checking your email and Workshop for some of those offerings if you need a face-to-face for that. So you might be interested in using those Ames and Gateway books, but you're not really sure where they are. Well, there's 1 per grade level per campus, so you might want to check with last year's team leader first. They might be housed in the science lab, or you might check with your campus science facilitator. Maybe your need is just getting started in your planning. I would suggest that you check in Forethought. It's going to have what you need, give you an idea of the scope and sequence, and give you some places to get started. We're going to be highlighting that in just a few minutes. So again, please utilize me as a help for you this year. Let me know how I can help you. I'm happy to answer any questions, and if I can, come and do a visit to your campus to help you out one-on-one. My goal this year is to put many more of the short e-courses in Workshop so that you can get the information that you need when it's convenient for you. Curriculum previews, how to use STEM Scopes, how to access and use some of the equipment that we have, are all going to be developed into short e-courses, and they'll be housed in Workshop. And those will be available to you to use 24/7 whenever it fits your schedule. So let's take a second to take a quick break, and then we're going to access Forethought a little bit more quickly and see what we have available to use. So let's take our break a little bit differently today, and let's take a brain break. Brain researchers know that anytime we can get students or any learner to cross that midline, that line that separates the left brain from the right brain, there's going to be a greater chance of learning. So we're going to highlight a couple of different ways that you can do this with your student. It's also going to give us a break as well. This brain break is called Wiggly Fingers. First, you can stand up or you can do this seated. Hold your arms out, palms up. Cross your palms so that they are faced together. And bring them up and cross as the model is showing in the picture. Once your hands are crossed, have a partner point, but don't touch it, to a finger and try to move it. Let me give you a couple of minutes to give this a try. Partner up and give Wiggly Fingers a try. Okay, if we can go ahead and let's get refocused now that we've given our brains a little bit of a break. I'm going to get us started back again with a quick quiz. As you're transitioning back into our learning setting, please grab a sticky note or two and number your note 1 through 3. These will be short answers, so you don't need to leave much room. Okay, ready? Let's get started with our first question. Last year, about how much time did you spend teaching science daily? Or if you don't teach science, how long do you think your teammates spent teaching? If you're new to the district, about how much time do you think was spent for your particular grade level? Okay, question 2. What is the district time frame for daily science instruction for your grade level? This time frame came out at the end of last year, and you may or may not know what those recommended times are. Curious to see what you'll put down. Okay, and our last question. Question 3. Of that time teaching science, what is the recommended percentage that students should be doing hands-on classroom and lab investigations for your grade? You can think about this as daily time or bi-weekly, or you could even look at it as a unit. So in a day, in a week, for a unit, about what percentage of time do you think your students should be doing hands-on classroom and lab investigations? Okay, let's take a look at what our answers are. So of course, number 1, the answers are going to vary quite greatly throughout the district, it seems. So we'll move on to number 2. What is the district time frame for daily science instruction for your grade level? Well, for K through 3, it's 45 minutes daily. For grades 4 and 5, it's 60 minutes daily. We all know that time is our biggest challenge within a day. The guidelines that were set forth last year for the different content areas will help to organize the day. These are the time frames that are set forth for science. Question number 3. Of that time teaching science, what is a recommended percentage that students should be doing hands-on, classroom and lab investigations for your particular grade level. These recommendations come from TEA, and they are located in our TEKS. For K through 1, 80% of time teaching science should be classroom and lab investigations. For grades 2 through 3, that should be 60% of that time teaching science should be in classroom and lab investigations. And for grades 4 and 5, 50% of the time teaching science should be some sort of investigations for classroom or lab. We're going to talk a little bit about how to find resources to help us meet these timeframes and guidelines. So where do I get all these resources for this hands-on science time? We've highlighted several of them. I'd like to go a little bit deeper into some of them next. Of course, STEM Scopes is a very comprehensive place for you to get all kinds of activities, lesson plans, those hands-on demonstration labs, as well as the investigations for your students. Again, highlighting EduSmart as a great place for introducing concepts or reviewing with your students. The Ames books we mentioned before, the Gateways books that I mentioned previously, and campuses will have money to decide how they would like to spend on motivation science. These are also known as Mentoring Minds, the company, and those will be available for science as well as reading and math. So first I'd like to just start and talk about EduSmart and how to access that on our district server. If you don't have this on your desktop, a very easy way to get it there is by following these instructions. On your teacher computer, this is located on the district server, so that you will have to be on a teacher computer to access this. You're going to click on the Windows Start button on the bottom left-hand corner. Now that Windows Start button looks something like this depending on what version you have, but it is going to be located, no matter what it looks like, in the bottom left-hand corner. Once you click on that button, there should be an option that says something for Run, and it will open up a window. In that Run window, you simply want to type the slashes BISDSAN/EduSmart, and it will open up a folder. You're going to click on the Science folder. You're going to select your grade level, and then there'll be several files within that folder. You're going to want to select the start.exe to run the program. And if you right click on that, you can create a shortcut and drag it to your desktop, and that way you don't have to keep going through those steps. These steps will also be located in Eduphoria under the resources page in case you need to see those again. The next thing I'd like to do is take a moment and go into STEM Scopes and just highlight a few things that have been changed over the summer, as well as just review how to do a login. So we're going to exit out of the PowerPoint and we're going to pull up STEM Scopes. Okay, so when I search for STEM Scopes, I will go into the login page. One thing when you log into STEM Scopes, you want to be sure that you are going to find the right district site. Many school districts within the state use STEM Scopes, and there's a portal for each particular school district. So if you're having trouble logging in, you might want to try making sure that you are in the Birdville. When it says Find Site, you can just type in Birdville, and possible matches will come up down here, and you'll just simply click on our district. When you log in, you will find the page that looks very similar to this. I'm in administrator view, but your page up here at the top will look very much the same. Here's the help button I was referring to earlier with videos and frequently asked questions. These are very short, step-by-step, and they're great to help get you started. The place that I like to go when I was using this in the classroom was the Scopes. There's two different places you can access what you need for your grade level. The grade levels are identified here on the side. You can go into your particular settings once you log in. If you'd like to see what is offered for grade levels either below you or above you, if you wanted to start looking at some of those resources, you can open up some of those options. You can also take a look at what is offered for, in this case, 5th grade. Every single student expectation that is listed, you can scroll all the way down. And this is going to cover all of the different units of study. I prefer to go to topic and just pull up these different units of studies. These first sections here are going to refer to elementary. These down here, of course, will be for secondary. So let's go to 3rd grade and let's check out what they have. You can see there's actually 2 pages of all the different things that they offer, but I'm going to go ahead and go into our first 6 weeks topics, matter and energy. And I'm going to come down here to changes from heat, that is 3.5C, and look and see what we need here. It has the student expectation listed out here with some of the key vocabulary. And when you open, you'll see on the left-hand side an overview and all of the different things that they offer. There's that 5E model that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. There's more than enough for you to pick and choose from, and there's certainly, you cannot do everything that is here. So it's going to be a great place for you to just decide what you need and pull over what you need to use with your students. If you'd like an overview of everything that's offered, this is a great place to get started right here. STEM Scopes offers demonstration presentations, hands-on for the students, as well as assessment questions. Something that's very popular with students and with teachers is something called Science Rock. This is a great opportunity to get kids involved with the content in a little bit different way. It has songs that are directly related to the topic, and there's a video down here at the bottom. You can push play and there's an animated video that comes up. Students find these to be really a lot of fun. Something that's a little bit new this year are the reading sections. These are going to be leveled readers on the particular topic, and the Lexiles are slightly different for each one. This is going to help us get that expository reading in front of them in a little bit different way. If your reading teachers are not aware of this resource, please be sure to share that with them. These can be printed off or they can be read online, and then they have questions at the end for student comprehension. These are great resources if you've not used them. The Math Connection is another great resource. This can be printed out and used on paper, or you can do it online. And I found the interactive virtual investigations to be great to use as a whole class on the whiteboard or in the actual computer lab. I found these to be especially effective with students after we had done a hands-on lab in the science lab, and then we would look and see what it looks like on a virtual lab, and that really helped to kind of reinforce some of those concepts. There's also an application down here for writing science. This is going to be giving them an opportunity to write a narrative or expository prompt on that particular science topic. There's some interactive review games here on the left, focusing on the vocabulary, which is found to be very important for 5th grade STAR test in science. And something that I just recently discovered within the last year was the science art down here under the acceleration. Many of these are really great activities to do if you're wanting to take it a little bit further, or if you're wanting to assign a really fun homework assignment to go with this. And these are usually as a PDF, and they're just really great applications for the concept. So you might want to check those out. If you've not used STEM Scopes before, I highly suggest that you go ahead and dive into it this first 6 weeks. See what you can use, see what's on there that would work for you. And again, if you need any help with your login, please email me and I'll get that to you right away. Okay, so we talked about EduSmart, we talked about STEM scopes a little bit. Let's talk about forethought. Where do you start in forethought? There's so much in here to access. It can be a little overwhelming sometimes. So I just want to kind of streamline this a little bit and tell you some places that I think would be a good place for you to get started now that we're at the beginning of the year. The first place you might want to stop is in your particular grade level in science, the yearly content documents. When you open this up and expand the view, which I've just done, you'll see all of these different documents underneath here. One of the best places to get started, especially if you're new to teaching science, is the curriculum previews. These are short video overviews of the 6 weeks curriculum, and they're located right there in Forethought. You don't need to go into Workshop to view those, and you can there are a lot of audio with that, so you could be doing something else in your classroom while you're listening to the curriculum preview that's coming up. These will be loaded in for every 6 weeks, so that'll be something that you can access anytime that's convenient for you if you want to get an overview of what's coming up. Also within the yearly content documents, 2 places I want to draw your attention is the units of study and the scope and sequence. These are 2 different views of the whole year of what is covered in every 6 weeks. The units of study is going to give you a 6 weeks by 6 weeks kind of snapshot of what we have in the curriculum. And the scope and sequence is going to have those listed out, but they're going to be identified by the readiness and supporting standards. I would think that both of those would be excellent resources to print out and put into your PLC folder and use those as you continue to plan for the year. Okay, so in this next view, I have reduced the yearly content documents and gone back to the main view. And this time I'm highlighting the process skills. In Forethought, the process skills for science, which are to be taught all through the year, are housed at the top of the list for the 6 weeks. These are not necessarily integrated in the curriculum in Forethought through the 6 weeks, but these are something that you'll need to pull into the different 6 weeks as you can find those as they apply. This is where the process skills are really going to help you get that verbiage for the 80%, the 60%, the 50%, whatever you're trying to do for those investigations. Those are going to come from the verbs and the process skills, and then the content will come from what's in the 6 weeks. So let's just take a look at what is inside of here. So the process skills continue down below the page that is shown, but you can see the first one focuses on safety, and that's typically where we start with the first 6 weeks. We review those safety skills. And if you click on this particular student expectation, it's going to open up a whole host of related resources, which you can see in blue at the bottom. So you can find everything that you will need there. And again, as you start to go through the year and the 6 weeks, you'll want to integrate these process skills within there. The unit overview will have those process skills listed as suggestions. Okay, so I have collapsed again the process skills. Now we're in the major overview again. So let's take a look at the first 6 weeks. This one is for 5th grade. A place that you might want to get started here, we have the standards that are listed, and this is what you're going to pull out to put into your lesson plans. But don't forget about these unit documents. I've opened this view up so you can see what's in here. This is going to give you just the 6 weeks overview. It's going to give you important vocabulary that your students are going to want to be writing and speaking, and assessments that you might use. But what I really want to highlight are these resources. I've really tried to focus in on all the resources that we have in the district for this year, and this is where they are housed so that you can really see what is available by the 6 weeks. And this is a great resource that is already in place and ready for you to use. When you open up those resources, you're going to see a Word document that looks very much like this. It's going to be several pages long, And it's going to have the student expectations for that particular 6 weeks. And it's going to have all the resources that we have listed out so that you can thoroughly hit that student expectation. So this is a great place if you're forgetting, where can I go? I need something to teach safety. I need something to teach heating and cooling. This is where you can go and see at a glance what we have available. So let's take a closer look at what's in here. So here you see on the left-hand side the student expectations. The required resources are simply resources that the district have been required. We have purchased those. Every teacher has those. So it's not necessarily a requirement for you to use those, but that's a requirement that we have those provided for you. You'll see the Gateways books are there. The Ames books are there. And the specific places within STEM scopes that you can go, and some suggestions for you to hit that particular student expectation thoroughly. If you'd like something in addition to that, you might look over in the recommended resources. These would be resources that we found that teachers have recommended, and we found that have been really great resources to take it a little bit further or to fill in some gaps where you might need it. Finally, the last column over here is called the suggested resources, and that would be if you're looking for, or if you have money to purchase some things, or if you're looking for particular video links that might add to it, this would be a place where you could look as well. So you'll find these already in Forethought, and they again are listed by student expectations, and these are just going to be a wonderful resource for you to really streamline your instruction and again help you use your time as efficiently as possible. If you find something that you really like for a particular unit and expectation, please let me know, and I will take a look at it and I will put it onto the resources page so that we can share that with all of our colleagues. So that's a lot of information in a short amount of time. I know it's just one of many sessions that you're going to today, so let's take another quick brain break as we end up our session time together. This brain break is a very short one. It's called Thumbs Up Pointer. You simply take one hand in the thumbs up position and one is pointing. You're going to try to switch those back and forth as quickly as you can. You'll find as you do it faster and faster, you're going to want to make that gun finger and thumb at the same time, but just try to focus on the thumbs and the pointer. Why don't you take a break, stand up, or turn to a partner and see how well you can do this. Let's take 1 minute to do that. Okay, if you're up and out of your seat, let's start to head back to our seat, do one more stretch, and let's kind of wrap things up. I have just a couple of more things I'd like to talk to you about. And the last thing I'd really like for us to do today is to get to know you and your perspective a little bit better. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, I am here for you. My job is to help make your job as easy as possible to get our wonderful resources into the hands of students and to help you use your time as efficiently as possible. I've prepared a very brief 10-question survey, and I'm going to provide you about 10 minutes of our session time to give me some feedback. So I want to thank you in advance for that, and please let me know how I can help you. There's no need to put your name on the survey unless you have a specific question that you'd like for me to get back with you on, and I'd like for you to give me honest feedback as possible. The feedback is really going to help me do a better job and ultimately for you and your students. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful year. I look forward to seeing each one of you in person, not virtually, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you again.